What's up, good people? Welcome back to the Stock Exchange Network. I want to start off every time by just saying thank you. Thank you for my new subscribers. Thank you for the people that's been following me all along. I thank you for all of the interaction, the questions, the insight that you've been giving me. I'm always open. I'm learning. I'm building. I'm growing as this continues to unfold. I just want to just say thank you, genuinely, from the heart. Everything that I'm here sharing, everything I'm talking about is coming from the heart. It's what I've experienced. It's the things that I see on a daily basis. I hope that everyone's having a great week, first of all, before I move into anything. I hope that you are literally growing and building. Hope that you're accomplishing your goals. I hope that you are believing in yourself more and more every day, and knowing that you can accomplish whatever the dream, whatever the goal, whatever the circumstance is that you are in. You can overcome everything and you can achieve whatever it is that you put your mind to. And I just want to talk about, so far, I've really been addressing the man and the male perspective and everything that goes into us reprogramming ourselves and having a greater understanding of life. As we all know, men, we're taught to be freelancers. We're taught to move around and roam and do as we please. We have that double standard. We're essentially allowed to mess around and do what we want to do with no repercussions to it in the grand scheme of things. But the reason why I focused on the man so much thus far is because at the end of the day, the man is the head of the household. The husband is the head of the household. And if you don't understand what that truly entails, then you are going to struggle. Now, most of us, our minds instantly go to finances. You know, you want to be able to financially support your family. You want to be able to financially support your woman. You don't want her to have to pay any bills. You want to be able to literally take care of everything and be the macho head of household from that perspective. But it's so much more that goes into that. And I just want to address one thing real quick. We're living in a new day and age. Like years ago, women were unable to really work in the same capacity that they do in today's time. Like equal rights and women's rights have come a long way. And let's be honest, most women are making equal or more than most men are at this time. And so the dynamics have changed a little bit. And of course, those women who are making the extra money now, they still want a man who can provide for them financially. They still want a man who can hold them down holistically, you know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter as far as the being paid bills if you're not enlightening her and uplifting her and encouraging her in other realms of her life. A woman can do bad all by herself. If a woman is capable of paying for her own rent, buying her own home, and the men that she's coming across only can provide finances, that's not what they need now, you know? And that's not what they're really looking for. That's not the number one thing. It's important, don't get me wrong, but that's not the number one thing. So I really want to dive into just helping people understand the depths of it. So when we use the word holistic, what comes to mind? Mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, social. All of these realms, all of these areas are places in which our women need assistance. Let's be real. Women are naturally more emotional creatures, and they react to certain situations. A lot of things that affect women and get them upset and riled up, men, we could care less about. We really aren't bothered by that. So that's an area where a man can step into a woman's life and be that level of peace, can be that sounding board, can be that individual who gives insight and gives a different perspective on the normal life that this woman lives or the normal emotional state that she's accustomed to. So when we're talking to a woman, when we're sitting down and we're interacting with these young ladies, you have to bring more to the table than just finances. That's something that can bring the man, that can reel the man. But if you lack substance, if you lack the ability to actually listen and give insight, actually understand them and see where they're coming from, give a sense of validation, and not look down upon them and look at them negatively when they're dealing with something that we may not deem as being serious. Now, I'll use something with me and my wife in the beginning, something that I had to learn, something that I had to get better with. My wife would come to me and she would share some of the things she's going through in her day. She would share some of the frustrations she may have from co-workers or her supervisors, or even just something as simple as the traffic outside. And I would instantly, when she would share this with me, I would instantly come back like, why are you even letting that bother you? Like, you shouldn't let that. I wouldn't let nothing like that affect me. I wouldn't let nothing like that affect my peace. My peace is too important to allow something so minute to affect me. But not realizing, by me saying those things, I'm really belittling her issues. I'm actually telling her that you have an issue. You got a problem. You can't handle adversity. Why are you struggling with something so minute? So ultimately, she's not gonna be so open to sharing things with me because I'm automatically shooting those things down. When I had to realize, like, everybody needs to be heard. And I always go back to my mental health background and my understanding of like building a rapport and working with children. You really have to listen. You really have to hear them out. You really have to understand where they're coming from, because what they're saying is their true reality. And let's just be honest, at this very moment, that woman is incapable of handling these situations because they've never had the skill set. They've never been taught the skills to be patient. They've never been taught the skills to, let it run off their back and just not really give a care about something. Being confident in what they do and what it is that they hold, and not allowing the outside noise to genuinely affect them. So as men, we're not just the financial providers, but we're the emotional providers. We're the social providers. We're the psychological providers and the spiritual providers as well. And when you can build a comfort zone for a woman, and this is something that's just not for women. This is for all people. If you're able to allow a person to be who they are, share what it is that they've gone through, share what it is that they're dealing with, hear them out, understand where they're coming from, and after they've shared everything, you can ask the question, do you mind if I give you a different perspective? And now you're able, after you've really heard them out and they know that you genuinely listened and you genuinely cared and you actually took it in and listened to what they're saying, they've gotten it off their chest now. Now they'll be open to a different perspective. They'll be open to your advice. They'll be open to listening to you, give them a different perspective and different ways of handling the situation that's been beating them up for years. But if we don't have that understanding, then we'll never go there. A lot of times, man, we come home from work, we done did what we need to do, and we come in, our wives, they wanna decompress. They wanna share what's going on. We're looking down at our cell phones. We listen, we hear them, but we're not giving them our undivided attention. And that's something that's like, yo, you're not even hearing me. You're not making me feel appreciated. You're not making me feel like I'm important to you. Over a long period of time, that's where someone will be able to get their ear, because they want yours, but you're not giving it to them, so they'll take someone else's. So, but I'm not gonna get too far off track. I really want to get back to just understanding what it is that we as men, our role. Old head told me a while back, and I'm not saying a while back, some years ago, that the role of the male in your wife's life or in your woman's life is equivalent to the role that a wife has in the child's life. Our women, they really nurture, they encourage, they uplift, they support our children. That's what we have to be for our wives. And of course, the children come down the line. So when you first get into a relationship, when you first step into this mode of being the male that you want them to submit to. Submit in today's time is a word that is thrown around very, very freely by men. But it's a word that's very, very dear to women. And it's not something that that they give up easily. And most men have this preconceived notion that, a woman is just supposed to just submit because you're the man. Like, no, that's something that's earned. That's something that's modeled. Like, at the end of the day, if I make sure that my woman has trust in me, if she knows that I genuinely care about her, that I have her best interest at heart at all times, if she knows that I'm going to be a great listener, that I'm going to give feedback to elevate her, not to put her down, that woman is going to submit. She has no other choice but to submit, because this is not the normal behavior that she gets from the average man. So when you learn how to holistically be a provider for this woman, naturally, she's going to submit. It's not something that you have to demand. It's something that you command from the actions that you display, from what it is that you represent. If you don't have yourself together, if you don't have your emotional control, your emotional intelligence in line, if you don't have your confidence within yourself, if that's not being exuded out on a daily basis, and that's not the energy that she's receiving from you, she's not going to submit. She's going to be hesitant. And oftentimes, in the beginning, women are very, very slow to submit, because they've been bamboozled so many times. They've been played so many times. It's a lot of dudes out here with slick tongues, with the gift of the gab, that are able to literally say everything that they want to hear. Give them the persona. They have the dress code. They look to par. They speak to par. They take them out and make them feel good. But at the end of the day, it's something deep down within that woman that's like, something's not right still. And ultimately, it's because that man hasn't completely opened up and given himself to this woman. In real life, they say, you get what you put out into the world. Whatever it is that you're putting off, the energy that you're putting off, that's what you're gonna receive. So if you still got some shady business on the side, if you're still dealing with others in the early processes, even though that person may not know exactly what you're doing, a female's intuition is real. A female's intuition is very strong. And so when you come into these situations, you gotta make sure that you buttoned up. You gotta make sure that you have everything in line. You gotta make sure that you're coming in with the mindset to be a husband, to be a provider, to be the leader. And if that's what you have on the inside, it's gonna be felt. Real recognize real, spirit recognize spirit. This is something that we have to make sure that we have in order before we step to that woman. Or we're gonna always sit back and wonder why she's challenging us so much, why she's coming off so strongly, because she hasn't seen that level of trust, that level of realness, that level of true strength and foundation within you. That's something that has to be showed. That's something that has to be given. And once we do that, I promise you, fellas, I promise you, this is not something that I'm just speaking off the top of the dome. This is something that's factual. A woman will submit to a man that has proven to them, and it don't take a lot, but it has proven to them that they want to be the leader for them, that they want to be that positive role model right there in front of them. That's what we have to be for our women, man. So I just want most guys to understand that I'm not just being hard on us. I'm not just being like, ooh, I want to get the female ratings. I want the females to be following and jumping on board. Oh, I'm gonna get to them too. I promise you, we're gonna get to everything. It's so many levels and so many layers that have to be peeled back so that we can understand each other better. But being that we are the head of household, my focus is the nuclear family. So the male, we're the centerpiece. We're the most vital, the most integral part of the motor of the car. We keep things going. We keep things running. So I just want to really talk to the male, and I'll have another session where we really dive into the details. I want to bring out some bullet points to really dissect and talk about what it is that we are supposed to be doing. But on the surface, man, we have to take time to build ourselves. We have to take time to put ourselves in position to be that male that a woman wants to submit to. And it's not just financial. We have to be holistically strong. We have to be holistically invested. And when you have that, man, you will start to see the attraction from people around you, not just women, but people in general, because everybody looks for that leader. Everybody looks for that individual who is going to be a great listener, who's going to be a confidant, and somebody who can impart wisdom and knowledge into you, and really be that support system that everyone needs. But I'm talking about the nuclear family. I'm talking about the relationship piece. So I guarantee you, if you learn how to really sit down and be patient, talk, be understanding. I'm saying not really so judgmental. It's easy to say, oh, the angry black woman, or the women are always dealing for. They asking for too much. They dealing with too much. Like, no, go ahead and get it in your head right now. It doesn't matter what woman that you end up with. She's gonna have some issues that a lot of them were created by men who didn't know what they were doing. They're gonna have issues from their dynamics in their home. They're gonna have daddy, mommy issues, and just overall trust issues because of the way that we choose to live early in our lives. So it's gonna be some walls that need to be broken down. It's gonna be some barriers that's gonna have to be broken down before you really dissect and get all the way to the individual. But you have to understand, I know that I played a major part in some broken hearts and some confused minds. I know that there's been some dudes that followed behind me that had to deal with a lot of baggage, that had to deal with a lot of questions, lack of trust, because I did that to a lot of women. So if we be honest with ourselves, man, a lot of the issues that the women are dealing with, we put them there. So why not be the ones to help to peel back them layers and take it away from them? But yes, it has to be the right one, and you have to be in tune. But until us as men, until we get ourselves together, until we genuinely sit down and do some self-dissection, pull ourselves back from the baggage, you gotta pull away from the game. Sometimes you gotta cut off all of your women so that you can really find out what it is that you need, what it is that you need to work on. How can you better yourself as a man, as a mate, and as an overall individual? So I'm gonna cut it off there, man. I just really wanted to really pinpoint why I'm focusing so much on the man, on the male perspective. Of course, I'm a male, but our role is serious. Our role is powerful. And if you're not ready to take on that role, then you're not ready to be a partner, you're not ready to be a husband, a boyfriend, or any of those labels. So once again, man, please subscribe. Please keep on sharing. If there's anything that I said that doesn't resonate with you, that you completely disagree with, I want the hard facts. I want everybody's true emotions. Don't hold back anything. But if it's something that I said that makes sense, if it's something that you want me to go deeper into detail on, please leave it in the comment section. Go ahead and share, subscribe, follow the Stock Exchange Network, man. Peace, love, and happiness. Stock Exchange.